This is 91.3 FM, WCUW in Worcester, Massachusetts, Dr. Chris's Radio of Horror show with a recorded interview with the director of In Fear, Jeremy Lovering, one of the new horror movies coming out this year, and one of the most talked about horror movies as well from Anchor Bay. Thank you, Jeremy, for coming on the show with us.
No, pleasure, Chris. Thank you very much.
Your movie In Fear has been talked about for a little while. It's quite a disturbing, looks like a disturbing little film, and it's being called as one of the best horror movies of the year. When you hear that, what do you take from it?
I'm incredibly excited. I mean, I think it's, I wanted to make a film that targeted a certain audience and hit a genre beat in the right way, and so it's incredibly gratifying to hear that people think that is the case.
For anyone not familiar with In Fear, give them a little bit of a synopsis of what's it about.
The plot is very simple. It's deliberately incredibly simple. Two people who have only known each other for 2 weeks go away together they're going to a festival in Ireland, and they set up, and slowly they get lost, it gets dark, and there's something out there that is terrorising them, and then they start to wonder whether they've actually already let it into the car, or it's past themselves, or is it indeed something more physical. And it's an incredibly simple storyline, and that's deliberate because it's pretty much a sort of old style suspense movie, so that it's about what's in their imagination. It's about them creating their own things to be scared of, and then it's about realising that those fears are primal, and then they're justified. So it's about fear of the unknown, fear of the dark, fear of being lost, and fear of yourself, and very much fear of the person sitting next to you in the car. You don't know if you can trust them.
It's such a tiny little cast too. Only like 3 or 4 people in the whole movie.
Yeah, there's only 3. I mean, I tried to contain it as much as I could. It's pretty much all set in the car, and the idea is that the camera is always tethered to the car in some way. So even when characters get out or when they walk around, it's always with the car in sight. And the idea behind that is trying to contain in some ways like home invasion in the car, and going along with that, the fact that the cast is very small. Yeah.
Now, is this your is this entirely your first original project that you created yourself? Because I noticed you worked on a lot of TV series and movies, but this seems to be the first kind of film that's yours, correct?
Yeah, no, I think that yes, it is. It's the first film I did, and also it's the first story of my own. But I think what's interesting about it is that I wrote the story, I then wrote a very long treatment, and then I didn't give the actors the story, and I didn't tell them what was going to happen. So we kind of co-created it. So even though, yes, I'd say it's mine, I'd also say it's ours, in that on the day they didn't know at all what was going to come next. They didn't know how it was going to end or whether their character was going to live or die. So every day they were inventing their character's reaction.
I also noticed on your IMDb you had the honor of bringing Sherlock Holmes back to life on Sherlock in the first episode of season 3.
That is very true, yeah, which is very different than In Fear, but very, very exciting in a very different way.
That must have been an honor, huh?
Say again?
That must have been an honor, huh?
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it was, I love the series anyway, and the real honour is working with Benedict and Martin, who obviously are top of their game at the moment, and, for different reasons, but they're just absolutely exceptional to work with, and, it was just a really good, fun thing to do, actually.
That's really cool. I mean, there's only There's only 9 episodes out of in 3 seasons. So to direct to direct one of those episodes, that's pretty big, I think.
I think so, yeah, and also because it's, I mean, they're 90 minutes and they're kind of standalone in some way. But I think, yeah, no, what was really big was the fact that this was the first one where, after 2 years of waiting, there's a very strong, a massively strong fan base, as you know, and it's like, there's a great sense of responsibility to, pull it off. And a lot of people had expectations of them getting back together again and carrying on their, friendship and what they were doing. And, I felt that I had that responsibility, but so it was actually an honour to make the first one for, the audience, I think.
One of the things about In Fear is that it's like mostly at night. Is that really difficult to do a lot of times?
Yeah, we shot chronologically for 4 weeks, and that was very important because we wanted I wanted the story to be absolutely as authentic as possible. So it meant, rather than shooting with, low loaders and on the back of trucks and A-frames and everything, for example, we, put the actors in the car and we set them off and we went with them. And we shot it chronologically. So it starts, I think it was a 4-week shoot roughly, and so the first week is day, then the second week was dusk, and then we did 2 weeks of nights. And, I loved it because it was kind of, with the elements, it was, in a part of Cornwall, in the southwest of England, which is very, kind of the last area where you get these big road networks without seeing many houses. And then, so it was pretty exposed and it made them feel vulnerable, and the night time just made it feel very real.
When getting a film like this together, what's one of the biggest challenges and obstacles you overcome?
I think the biggest, normally you've got a safety net of a script, and we did have that turning point. I had a script with me, but no one else did. So if it had gone wrong, if the actors hadn't have got it, or if they had gone down a wrong path, it would have been very hard to bring them back without, saying, okay, well, here's the script. And I think that was both the most exciting thing, and also I'd say the most challenging thing. That's in the actual filming. Then also, in terms of, trying to create a horror film or a psychological horror, which is what this is, that feels in some way fresh or is in some way, keeping the audience, excited is also a massive challenge, when it's, it's an area which is very saturated, obviously. And then also, finally, I think, as it's a psychological horror and it's trying to create tension and suspense, and it's relying on those things and relying on, the slow build rather than gore, I think that's another challenge as well.
What's your next project that you're working on?
Well, there's a few. One of them is a straight horror, one of them is a psychological horror, one of them is a comic novel adaptation, one is a remake of an old 70s horror film, and the other is a black comedy. So I'm sort of perched looking at lots of different projects.
One's based on a graphic novel, huh? Anything we might have read?
No, I don't think I'm in liberty to say at this moment. It's exciting. It's a kind of Jacob's Ladder territory.
Oh, okay, all right.
I've only just begun conversation, so it may be a very short conversation about it, but hopefully not. I do like it a lot.
Comic book films are huge, huge money if they're done correctly and the fans love them, so good luck to you.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. That's kind.
You could get a ring-a-ding-ding from Marvel to direct something one day. Look at James Gunn. I mean, he went from like a lot of independent horror movies like yourself, and Slither was his kind of big breakout film, and then now he's directing Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that is well. yes, let's see. I don't want to tempt fate, but yeah, I'd love to. It'd be brilliant. I think, that was going back to Sherlock, that was one of the most exciting things, and it's not dissimilar in terms of, you've got a brand, you've got established characters, and you've got, a kind of tonal approach. And I love that. I think it's really exciting.
Did Sherlock did Sherlock open doors for you from with other projects after people saw the episode?
I think probably a combination of the film In Fear and Sherlock. I think the doors, doors have been opened in terms of communication, in terms of scripts, in terms of, face. I think, people go, maybe he can do something that we like. And I think that was a combination of the film. Definitely a lot of people have, in America have seen it just through, sort of small screenings or whatever. And I think having done Sherlock is a kind of seal of approval at the same time for a certain type of filmmaking, which is very different than In Fear.
Cool. There's a question we always ask our guests when they come on the show, us being a horror-themed radio show. What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
I would say, it's funny, if you ask me that, the one when I was growing up was actually Propulsion and Rosemary's Baby, the double sort of Polanski thing. And they're not sort of true horror. Then I would have said The Vanishing, actually, strangely, if you ask me at that moment. And then, actually, Ring, I would say, that still is the one, coming up The Ring is the one that still, does scare me. And The Changeling, I think, is probably, I'd put The Changeling down as probably my favourite horror film.
Cool. Well, hey, Jeremy, we really appreciate you coming on the show. We know you're kind of out of town. So we do appreciate you taking some time out while you're out of town to do this. In Fear comes out on March 8th for everyone who's interested in seeing it, and you can pick it up on Blu-ray and DVD. Jeremy Lovering, thank you for coming on the show with us once again.